The 2023 Minecraft mob vote already feels like a disaster to me. Like seriously, it does. The crab, armadillo, and penguin for this year's mob vote don't feel that big or special enough to be required to vote for. They honestly just feel like mobs that would just end up being added regardless later on. You ever looked at the mob votes, saw the 3 options, and thought, why not all 3? Because that's what I think about every time I see these new mob votes every single year. Admittedly, I don't believe that all the mobs from every mob vote should be in the game. I feel like certain mobs, like the wildfire that ended up getting added into Minecraft dungeons, felt more fitting in some type of way. I don't really know how to explain why, but it just feels like the design, the look of it really fit the Minecraft dungeons-esque feeling, specifically since there's a lot of mutated or different looking mobs inside that game. But there's a few that I feel would have easily been the best choice, or should have been the real choice that should have been added along with the winners chosen. For example, let's quickly talk about the 2020 mob vote situation. I feel like every single mob from here should have been implemented and could have just not only added more variety, but it wouldn't even bloated the game mob-wise. I think it would have been a really nice addition for all 3. The Moo Bloom could have just literally been a rarer, more unique variation of the mushroom, maybe with a rare drop, or maybe the flower on it itself is rare and could have some interesting properties or abilities. Or, you know, it could have just been a nice rare variation of this mushroom to find, kind of like how the blue axolotl is pretty rare in its own little way. Also, honestly, this slot felt so filler, like a really bad Naruto filler episode. The Iceologer easily was the best one out of all of these guys. There is such a lack of life and uniqueness in pretty much all the ice biomes, specifically the ice spike biomes. Other than the polar bears and the occasional igloo that you end up stumbling across in these biomes, there's literally nothing else. The Iceologer would have literally changed that and made a more interesting thing. It could have been similar to the Evoker, or maybe like a little mini boss that's strong, you know, given the abilities that it was going to be given, with things like moving around ice blocks and also sneaking around you. That would have honestly been a really cool thing to see. And then obviously we have the winner of this year's mob vote, which is the glow squid. Glow squid looks cool, and I do like the glow sacks that it gives that allows you to light up signs and stuff like that. But the problem is that it just feels like it could have been another variation of the squids we already have inside the game. It really made no sense. I do appreciate what the glow squid offers in terms of what I personally like about it, but it still feels off and kind of wrong to see that this is in the game compared to the Iceologer. And that just makes me question the idea of the mob votes in general. Like, why? Why do we just throw out the old ones? Why not bring them back? Why not like a runners-up or a throwback to the older mobs that honestly really deserve a second chance and would probably end up winning too?
I win.
I personally thought the barnacle mob from 2017 would have been cool as like a mini ocean boss fight or something, and it probably would have been a cool header to put into the aquatic update from 2018, but it just ended up not even getting that chance. And even though the copper golem is pretty useless in terms of what it can actually do for the player, it's still a cute little guy. I thought it would have been cool for him to be in there. But if you wanted to complain about useless mobs, let's just talk about the fact that the ocelot has no longer been able to be tamed for years now, which means it just exists now. So think about that for a second. I feel like one big problem about the mob votes, other than the actual mob votes themselves, is the community in general. The idea of us making the choice and decisions. It's super cool to be able to do that, but let's not forget what the first mob was that we decided to choose over the other mobs back in 2017. We don't even care or like the Phantom anymore. No one at all. I don't think even from the start liked the Phantom. And now there's a dedicated command to disable Phantoms in the game. How ridiculous can it honestly get in terms of uselessness and even things that we don't even want anymore? I don't think Mojang should really listen. I think Mojang should just develop the mobs, get people to play test Minecraft with those mobs, and then they'll report whether it's good or not. And then they can use that feedback in order to determine whether it'll be in the game or not. And if not, they can always just revitalize and fix it later. You know how there's a bunch of different mythical and legendary Pokemon in every single region of every new Pokemon release? Everyone has their favorite trio, or maybe their favorite out of the trio, or maybe their favorite little niche guy that they like the most that most people don't like at all, you know? There's someone who might actually like Fiona and Manaphy for some reason. They're crazy, but they like it and there's nothing wrong with that. It could have been the same way with all these mobs, and it would have intrigued more people who maybe haven't even played the game before. So honestly, I just ask Mojang, please take away the mob votes, bring back the older mobs from the previous years, and try to implement them into the game. People really want these mobs to come back, including me, and I think it would be really cool. There's probably like a crap ton of videos about this very subject already on YouTube, plaguing everyone's recommended feed, and I think that should say a lot to Mojang. Whether it's Microsoft or Mojang that's controlling this, it doesn't matter. Something needs to change. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm not gonna be voting for any mobs this year, but I really think the armadillo would be cool to see because the wolf armor, obviously. I think that's just pretty self-explanatory. If you have any thoughts about the mob vote this year, please let me know down in the comment section below. And if you're voting this year, let me know which mob you're gonna choose. Before I go, thank you guys again for supporting my video last week. Honestly, really crazy to see those numbers. I did not expect that to happen, honestly. I'm gonna keep on making videos like this, just like random topics. And I'm also working on some gaming videos, so stay tuned for that. That will be all for today. Thanks for watching. Finish A out.
Perfect.